Hi, my name is Naomi, and I'm the creator of Two and or Four, who makes handmade products for your two-legged loved ones and your four-legged loved ones. Today I'm going to do a video on how to do a left chest logo manual. For those of us who have single needle machines and would like to do this and find a way to do it and line it up easily, I'm going to do this video. All right, so I have my 4x4 hoop because most logos will fit in a 4x4 hoop. I have a piece of tearaway stabilizer. I also have a small piece of Polymesh, which I'm going to put on the back of my t-shirt. And I have some 505 spray that I'm going to be using. I have a triangle ruler and I have a regular ruler. So I figured this out. I had this triangle ruler, which honestly has no measurements on it. So what I did was I just kind of took some painter's tape and I just put it at the spots that I use most of the time for my logos. I tend to use a 7-inch mark. For adults, I believe it's somewhere between a 6 and a 9-inch. I also have the t-shirt that I'm going to put it on. So what I'm going to do is, the first thing that I do is put my glasses on because otherwise I can't see anything. And I'm going to lay my t-shirt out nice and flat. And I want to make sure that I can see my shoulder seams. And in a minute, I'm going to switch the camera down so that you can see what I'm doing. And I just lay it out. All right, one of the other items you'll need is a disappearing ink pen. You can either use the ones that are meant for sewing. I happen to use a Frixion pen because I know when I hit it with the iron, it disappears. So like I said, I use the Frixion pens for this. I also have a smaller ruler, but honestly, your larger ruler will suffice. So what I did when I discovered I had this, and I have had it for years, was I measured what this edge was. And it turns out that this is a 12-inch triangle ruler. So once I marked how far down I wanted my logo to be, I then take my triangle and I put it at the shoulder point, at the neckline, and I then take my other ruler, and since I know that this edge of my triangle ruler is 12, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my ruler on the other side at the shoulder point, at the neckline, same as I'm doing with my triangle ruler. And then I am going to adjust my triangle ruler on this side to be the same 12 inches down. When I do that, that lets me know this is now squared. And what I will do is, since for me it's 7 inches and I have it, when I say 7, for me it's 7 inches down, it's 7 inches to the center. which for me, because my logo is basically a 2x2, that means my logo is actually going to start an inch higher, which would be at 6. So, and that's fine for me. You have to find what works for you. But I just have some painter's tape, and I wrote on it which one's 7, which one is 6, and so forth. Marked. I put a dot there. And I also put a dot at the 7-inch mark on the other side, and we'll use that afterwards for our horizontal line. And so what I then do is, my particular logo is basically a 2x2. So I don't need to draw huge lines, but I will take and I'll use some dashed lines on the vertical while I have my triangle ruler in place. And then I can remove my triangle ruler. Make sure that you've marked your 7-inch point. Yeah, I did. On this side. And so what I do is I then take my regular ruler and I go on the point that I put over here at 7 inches down. Now remember, if your logo is 8 inches down, you're going to mark 8 inches. And I then can draw my horizontal line. Okay, so I will pick this up and I will show you what I mean. You then end up with a crosshairs. And what I'm going to do is I use, that was the other thing I should have told you, some small ballpoint pins. I then take a pin and I just kind of, in the center where my crossing occurs, I just put a pin there just so I have some kind of reference. And I'm going to turn my t-shirt inside out. I'm going to find the pin. And I'm going to take my Polymesh and I'm going to spray it lightly. I have a box, I keep a cardboard box underneath my table and I spray in there so that it doesn't go all over the place, and then whenever I need a new a new box, I just replace the box. These are boxes where packages have, items have come in. So I'm just recycling the box. And so I just give it a light spray and I just kind of eyeball the center of my piece of Polymesh and I just lay it on the pin mark that I there and I smooth it out. Okay. So then what I can do is turn my shirt back. And what I am going to do is I'm going to take a bigger pin and I'm going to put it in that center point. And that's going to help me kind of guide me when I get to my hoop. All right, so for the hoop, I just have a piece of tearaway stabilizer. And I put it in my hoop. Push it in. Make sure I'm liking what I feel. And then I tighten. All right, then I'll take my grids, and honestly, you don't even need to. If you don't want to, you can use the little marks that are on your hoop. And I just draw a line there to find my center. But since I have the grid, I'll use the grid. I just put it down. Mark all my little holes. Take it out. And I just draw my same cross thing. All right. So now I have a cross thing on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to spray. So I'm going to spray the tearaway lightly. Again, I do it in the box under my table. And then the pin that I stuck in the center is going to help me find my vertical. But what I do first is I take my horizontal line and I just kind of crease it. And I just finger press it down. And then I will use that pin and I just kind of make sure it's straight up. And I will try to place it on the horizontal line with the pin on the vertical line. That's looking pretty good. And then I'll remove my pin and I'll hold the top of my line on my shirt and I will just kind of eyeball my line behind it. And usually if I take a pin and I put it through one of my points, this is dead on. Okay. And then I just smooth it out. And I'll just check the bottom part. Again, I just put my fingers there and I just kind of eyeball. Yep. And then I just smooth it out. And you don't want to pull, but you want it to be nice and smooth. All right. Now, for extra measure, in the beginning I used to do this until I got used to doing these logo things, and I don't do it anymore, but the small ballpoint pins are pretty easy to put in, and I put them in as close to the hoop edge as possible so I know it's going to stay out of my embroidery field. And since this is just such a small thing, 4 little pins should do it. I mean, and it's the way that I did the shirt that I'm wearing, and I'll show you that in a minute. And that's it. So what I will do is I will make sure when I go to my embroidery machine that all of this is out of the way. All right. So we're gonna go over to the embroidery machine. So then I will take and I will hoop my item, and what I want to make sure is when I'm hooping this that the back of the shirt is out of the way, because yes, I have caught the back of my shirt. Okay, and I'm gonna hoop this on. Why is my machine rock? Something's underneath. Yeah, that's why. Okay, so once I have attached my hoop and heard that click, for a large shirt, honestly, you could just push it all out of the way, it'll be fine. But if you're doing a child's shirt, I just use painter's tape just to kind of get the excess out of the way, and I just tape it up. All right. You could put lots more, but like I said, this is a large shirt. I just make sure nothing is underneath. And then I'm going to thread my machine. I probably should have chosen a different thread, but this is the color I wanted on this shirt. So hopefully you'll be able to see. I use a thread stand because I found that I have less thread breakage when I do that, and less problems with fewer problems with the thread, but you don't, it's not a required. All right, I am going to bring the all right, so I'm going to move my presser foot till it lines up properly, and I just use my arrows, and that looks about on center. And then this is kind of long. Oh, cut that a bit. All right, so now I have it down. I like where I have it centered, and I'm going to hit embroider and then just hit the button. And I like to cut my threads as much as I can. And honestly, I don't babysit this one. I let it do its thing, and I have not had a problem. All right, it's finished. I am going to clean up the jump threads, and then I will take it off the hoop and I will give it a light press to make the lines disappear. All right, so I'm going to clean up the threads, and I have my little embroidery scissors. And I use these little containers from IKEA. They used to be 99 cents. I think now they're, I don't know, $1.09, $1.29, I'm not sure. But I have a whole bunch of them, and I use them all over my studio. All right, so once I've cut the threads, I just take the pins out. Then I'm going to remove it from the hoop. And I will pull out my tearaway and trim the stabilizer, the Polymesh. So this is what it looked like. I still have to press it so that the marks come out. But as long as you make sure that this bottom edge is 12 inches from your other shoulder. So I cleaned up the back. I trimmed the Polymesh stabilizer. I took out the tearaway stabilizer, and then I just gave it a quick little press with the iron to get rid of the Pilot Frixion pen marks. So that's how you do a logo marking with a right triangle and a ruler. So this is a right triangle ruler and then a regular ruler. This one happens to be 12 inches. I've also seen them 10 inches. You just want to make sure it's long enough for you to be able to use for the sizing that you want. I don't know where I got this one, though I did send a friend one on Amazon, and I'll link that one below. I have no affiliation with Amazon. That's how you do mark a logo, with a right triangle and a ruler, so that you know that your lines are straight. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, I would appreciate it also if you subscribed, and turn on the notification bell if you want to know when I post another video. My name is Naomi, and I'm the creator of 2 and or 4. Thank you.